Water levels drop. Concern is rising along the Colorado.
Deep inside the Grand Canyon, a big rock has seen a lot of time pass by. The Grand Canyon is a huge and amazing hole in the ground that people have been interested in for a long time. It looks really beautiful, but it also has some hidden mysteries that make people curious. What are these secrets hidden in its old rocks? Join us as we look into this iconic natural wonder's rich history, recent revelations, and closely guarded mysteries. Stretching a staggering 445 kilometers in length and averaging 16 kilometers in width, the Grand Canyon is a colossal masterpiece carved by the relentless forces of the Colorado River in the U.S. state of Arizona. Questions have arisen about whether the Colorado River truly carved the Grand Canyon. The Colorado River indeed carved the Grand Canyon over millions of years. The river's continuous erosion of the rock layers over a very long time created the magnificent canyon we see today. Remarkably, this natural wonder predates the discovery of Niagara Falls by 138 years and Yellowstone by 167 years, with Spanish explorers led by Captain Garcia López de Cárdenas being among the first Europeans to set eyes upon its splendor in 1541. When Captain Garcia López de Cárdenas and his fellow explorers went on their journey, they were among the first Europeans to see the amazing beauty of the Grand Canyon. It must have been an incredible moment for them as they looked at this huge gorge created by nature's power for many years. The Grand Canyon's early encounter with European explorers marked the beginning of its storied history, as it gradually captured people's imaginations worldwide. Today, it is a geological wonder and a testament to the enduring beauty and mystery of our planet's natural landscapes. But what was the result from this early research? During this early expedition, some members of Cárdenas's team descended partially toward the river but failed to reach it. Curiously, some records of the Coronado expedition did not mention this side journey. Over 2 centuries later, in 1776, Spanish Franciscan monk Francisco Garces reached the rim while tracing Native American tribes along the Colorado, encountering the Havasupai people. Around the same time, fur trappers from Taos Pueblo knew of the vast abyss called the Big Canyon, but deemed it impassable, choosing to guide U.S. Army surveyors seeking alternate routes around the canyon. Then, in 1857, Lieutenant Joseph C. Ives led an excursion up the Colorado River in search of the Big Canyon after their steamboats sank in Black Canyon farther upstream. His group wandered partially down Diamond Creek, reaching the inner gorge for a brief period and pausing briefly at the southern rim. In his report, Ives dismissed the landscape as worthless and infamously proclaimed the territory should be fled once entered. This stark perspective contrasts sharply with Major John Wesley Powell's renowned 1869 expeditions, which unveiled the true grandeur of the canyon. Powell's classic account not only renamed it the Grand Canyon, but also described its awe-inspiring cliffs, cascading waterfalls, and stone temples that tower above the Colorado River. His daring journey through the entire 445-kilometer length of the river's raging rapids opened the public's eyes to the canyon's unparalleled grandeur and beauty. Inspired by Powell's account, artists like Thomas Moran soon arrived, seeking to capture the sweeping vistas of the canyon in their paintings. Their works conveyed the emotional impact of the panoramic views, forever imprinting the canyon's beauty in the hearts and minds of those who beheld their art. Do you know the canyon is sacred to Native American tribes? The Grand Canyon isn't just a geological wonder, it holds profound spiritual significance for Native American tribes who have inhabited or visited the region for countless generations. 11 distinct indigenous peoples, including the Hopi, Havasupai, Zuni, Navajo, and Paiute, have called the Grand Canyon region home for centuries. To these tribes, this canyon is far more than a scenic national park. It's deeply intertwined with their creation narratives and religious convictions. For these tribes, the Grand Canyon holds a significance far beyond its stunning natural beauty or status as a national park. It is intricately woven into their creation stories and religious beliefs. The canyon's unique landscapes, sacred sites, and the flowing waters of the Colorado River are integral to their spiritual traditions. The Grand Canyon is seen as a place of deep connection between the physical and spiritual realms. It has been a source of inspiration, a setting for ceremonies, and a location where tribal members have sought vision and guidance from the divine. The traditions and stories passed down through generations highlight the enduring bond between these Native American communities and the Grand Canyon, making it a living part of their cultural heritage and identity. One such tribe, the Havasupai, has inhabited the Grand Canyon region for over 800 years, making it central to their culture, spirituality, and way of life. For centuries, they have relied on the canyon for sustenance, cultivating crops along the riverbanks and hunting animals in the rugged terrain. The Havasupai view the Grand Canyon as the birthplace of humanity and a bridge between our physical world and the spirit realm. Waterfalls, springs, and streams within the canyon hold particular significance, as water is regarded as an essential element for life. Havasu Falls and Mooney Falls, with their turquoise blue waters, are considered sacred and are used for rituals and baptisms. The tribe's creation story tells of their emergence from the Grand Canyon at the dawn of time, with the canyon's caves and rivers serving as paths traveled by their ancestors, continuing to connect the living with ancestral spirits. The canyon is both a homeland and a holy land for the Havasupai, with specific formations and sites marking locations for vision quests, coming-of-age ceremonies, and direct communication with the Creator. The geological history of the Grand Canyon is as impressive as its surface beauty. While the magnificent Grand Canyon we know today began forming around 17 million years ago during the Miocene epoch, the rocks that compose its towering walls have a far older story, stretching back an astonishing 1.8 billion years. The oldest rocks at the canyon's base belong to the Vishnu schist, formed 1.7 to 1.8 billion years ago during the Proterozoic eon. These ancient metamorphic rocks originated as mud and volcanic ash deposited near the equator in an ancient ocean basin. Intense heat and pressure from tectonic plate collisions transformed these sediments into the banded schist we see today. Above the Vishnu schist lies the Granite Gorge Metamorphic Suite, formed 1.4 billion years ago when molten magma intruded into the older schist. This intrusion cooled and crystallized into granite and pegmatite dikes that cut through the layered metamorphic rocks below. These granite rocks form much of the Colorado River's inner gorge today. These granite rocks comprise a significant part of the inner gorge of the Grand Canyon. This is the area where the Colorado River flows through today. So when you look at the towering cliffs of the Grand Canyon, you often see these ancient granite rocks formed billions of years ago through a fascinating process of cooling and solidifying of molten rock. These geological processes are like a time capsule, preserving the Earth's history to explore and understand. The great unconformity rests above these ancient basement rocks, a staggering gap in the geologic record spanning over 1 billion years. This represents an astonishing amount of lost time, where either no sediments were deposited or any that have been completely washed away. The origins of this profound unconformity have been debated for over a century. This astonishing gap means that for some reason, either no new layers of sediment were being added to the Earth's surface during that time, or if they were, they've been completely washed away over the eons. Imagine pages torn out of a history book, and you start to understand the vastness of this gap. Scientists have debated the origins of this profound unconformity for over a century. It's a puzzle that has captivated geologists and continues to spark research and investigation. Understanding why this gap exists and what happened during that missing billion years is a fascinating and ongoing challenge in geology. It's a bit like trying to piece together a story with some of the missing pages. Each new discovery brings us closer to solving this ancient mystery. So, what were the strange discoveries that were found? People said some strange things about giant bones found in places like the Grand Canyon in the western United States in the early 1900s. They claimed that huge human-like skeletons, as tall as 2.5 to 3.5 meters, were dug up during excavations sponsored by the Smithsonian Institution. Some of the stories talked about these giant skeletons being buried among the Pueblo cultures in the Southwest. But the Smithsonian, a famous place for learning, says they never got any of these giant bones for study. Also, during a journey into the Grand Canyon, G.E. Kincaid made an unexpected, legendary find. In an article from April 1909, published in the Arizona Gazette, he recounted an extraordinary encounter. Around 60 kilometers upstream from the southern edge of the canyon, Kincaid noticed unusual formations on the towering limestone walls. He decided to investigate, and to his amazement, he stumbled upon hundreds of intricately carved steps leading to a cave entrance. What made this discovery even more astonishing were the strange hieroglyphics resembling ancient Egyptian writing marking the entrance. Upon venturing inside, Kincaid found an extensive network of chambers and tunnels, which he believed to be the remnants of an ancient underground city hidden within the Grand Canyon. These passages stretched for several kilometers, with some rooms as large as 50 square meters or more. There are also stories about local legends like the one in Ohio. People said they found a giant skeleton over 2.5 meters tall in 1869. It was buried with special artifacts like carved shells and stone axes, suggesting it was someone important. But after being shown to people, the bones disappeared, and no one knows where they went. The strange stories aren't just in Ohio. People say similar things happened in places like Oklahoma and the Midwest. Some even believe that the Smithsonian kept the giant bones a secret and got rid of any records and bones that could prove they existed. If you look at the Smithsonian's official records, there's no proof that they ever got these giant skeletons for study. So, without real evidence, some folks say the whole story of giant skeletons is just made up. Those who believe in the giant bones say they were most discovered in the 1930s. After that, the evidence disappeared from history. What if there is a connection between government institutions and the disappearance of these evidence? People claim that the government made sure the evidence, which challenged what we thought we knew about history, disappeared. To confirm this, another puzzling story revolves around an article supposedly published in 1909 in the Arizona Gazette. This article told an incredible tale of finding an underground temple in the Grand Canyon. It described a maze of tunnels, crypts, and strange artifacts that hinted at an advanced civilization we'd never heard of before. People say this fascinating article was in the Gazette on April 5, 1909, but then it vanished from the records. The Smithsonian, a big organization for learning, said they knew nothing about this hidden temple. This added to suspicions that something bigger was going on and that the government was trying to hide discoveries that didn't fit with what the people already knew. Supporters of this idea say that the Smithsonian and the government were actively working together to hide evidence that could change our understanding of American history. They think that making the article disappear was part of a bigger plan to keep these discoveries under wraps. The doubts grew even stronger when strict rules, like those during a state of emergency, were implemented in the early 1900s. These rules stopped regular people from visiting certain remote places in the canyon. Even though there could be around 1,000 secret caves in the canyon, only 335 have been found. Tourists could only visit a few of them. If you dared to explore the forbidden caves, you would face punishment. Some think these rules were made to keep places like Kincaid's underground city hidden from us. These rules also said that you couldn't make maps or take pictures of the hidden places and needed government permission to travel there. Not too long ago, in 2016, even German researchers were told they couldn't go to a part of the canyon called the Havasupai region. The government said they were doing this to protect the environment and the land of the Native American tribes living there. They said the off-limits places only comprised 3% of the park, and there was no proof of any special artifacts or odd things there. Some folks decided to take matters into their own hands and look for answers. Independent researchers like Jerry and Kathy Wills took up the challenge in the 1990s. They wanted to find Kincaid's underground city, which the Smithsonian said was just a story. They spent 3 years exploring the canyon, searching for the entrance to the hidden city. While hiking along the canyon walls by the Colorado River, they found cracks that matched what Kincaid described. They used special climbing gear to climb about 500 meters up a cliff, but they couldn't reach the entrance to the city. The Wills also found cave entrances lower down but were blocked with cement. They believed that in the 1920s someone had sealed these caves to hide something. Even though they couldn't get inside the caves, they thought they found evidence that people had lived there long ago. But they faced a lot of challenges, including government rules. Park officials said they couldn't take artifacts or use special gear to explore the caves. Helicopters watched them closely, making the Wills think the government was watching them closely to stop them from reaching the secret areas. Some people who love a good conspiracy think these stories make sense. They say the National Park Service is hiding important discoveries in the Grand Canyon that could change what we know about history. Thank you for sticking with us till the end. See you next time.